In this video I show how to make simple and stylized snow using Niagara. Here is light snow falling and you can see it blows around due to the wind. If I slow it down you can see they are actually snowflakes using a texture. Like the rain system, you can see snow accumulation with surfaces becoming snowier over time. At first, it will become snowier with a pattern so it is not uniform, and this uses absolute world position so can be applied to any mesh regardless of the UV. At the max snow amount there will be a blanket of snow. All of these objects have also become snowier. The snow uses a slope mask so builds up towards the top. You can however control this if you want it all around or in a specific direction if the snow is blowing in a certain direction. The snow overlay uses normals too so it looks textured like snow. The diffuse is still blended over the snow but you can control this if you want the snow to have full transparency over diffuse. The fog also increased over time to make it look colder, although this too can be adjusted or removed to your liking. Here is the snow in a night scene environment. Finally is this blizzard example. When the snow is blowing in a particular direction and strong enough, it acts as a blizzard, and there is also an audio change for this. This is where you might want to adjust the slope mask since it should hit other normals/angles too. If I turn the snow off, the accumulation will slowly reduce and go back to normal. Here is a quick example of a cutscene using the snow. It uses GPU particles so can have very heavy coverage even during cutscenes. The snow accumulation is also applied here. Parts of this video will be made with additions from my rain system and will also explain the Niagara as well as the accumulation system in more detail. You can follow that along first or simply download that project which is free. First we will do the Niagara. I will get this free snowflake texture but you can use any. If you have multiple you could also randomize each one but I couldn't find a snowflake texture pack for that. Import it. Right click and make a material using it. This will make the snowflake use the color set by the Niagara. Change blend mode to translucent so we can make it just the snowflake with no background. Use the alpha channel of it. You can add an emissive value with a control if you want to brighten the snow up a bit. Go to project settings and enable support hardware ray tracing and ray traced shadows. This is needed for GPU Niagara collisions. Make a new Niagara system using the hanging particulates template. Make the shown user parameters. You can change the default values to your liking. Change sim target to GPU compute sim. This is so we can add a large number of snow without causing performance issues which will happen if we use CPU. You can still use CPU since it has better controls in my opinion, especially with collision and culling, but you will have to adapt it for performance which I showed how to do in my rain video with the CPU rain. Increase the min and max bounds. Increase the lifetime since the velocity is usually lower for snow so it would take longer to fall. Copy the setup for the sprite size. It makes it random but with a size multiplier so we can control the overall size easily. Delete these modules from particle update. Scale sprite size will make the snow scale in and out. Scale color will fade it in and out. You can modify the curves if you want. Add a curl noise force. You can make a vector 2D parameter for it so there is only one variable, then just read from X and Y for the strength and frequency. This will make the snow flail around instead of just blowing linearly, which is more realistic, and snow weighs literally nothing. Now add a collision module. Change it to GPU ray traces. This only works since we enabled the hardware options in project settings. Set restitution to 0 and friction to something higher. Then set max number of collision to 1. Leave it as it is if you want the snow to stick to surfaces when hit. Add a kill particles module with the condition being has collided. This now destroys the snowflake when it collides instead. Change the material to the snowflake one. You can change the alignment mode to velocity aligned if you want. I accidentally set snow amount to 0 by default, so we'll increase it to something like 5000. That is all for the Niagara. We will now do the accumulation effect. First you need a snow PBR texture. I will get mine from Ambient CG, which is free. Get any snow material you want. Import them in engine. There might be two normals in it, but import the normal DX one. I will rename them to normal and diffuse. I have this material parameter collection from the rain video, so you can make a new one if you need. Add a new scalar one called snow amount with a default value of 0 for now. Make a new material function called snow accumulation. This will be somewhat similar to the rain wetness function from the rain video. This is the snow mask, which makes snow only build up on the top of objects. You can adjust the vector to change the direction of it. If you want it to be based on the snow direction, you can make that vector a parameter collection value instead and change it in runtime. Copy the shown code. Set this to a smoke or cloud texture. It is for the initial build-up pattern. This scales it, and since it will be based on world position, a higher tiling value is good. Increase the power if you want the snow pattern to have harder edges. This code looks a bit confusing due to the many lerp nodes, but all it is doing is blending the diffuse between its default, pattern snow, and full snow. The full snow is blended halfway between the original, so you can still see the original through it. You can set the lerp below to 1 if you want it to be fully snow. This final lerp applies the slope mask. The exterior parameter was explained in the rain video in more detail. It is simply used to dictate which materials should have snow, since interior ones such as furniture in a building shouldn't. This code does exactly what we did for diffuse but for normals. Make sure you hook this up correctly. We need to add this function to the necessary materials now. I will show it for the default ground material. Find the master material. I added the rain wetness to that, so we'll duplicate it instead and replace it with the snow function. If your material didn't have a normal, then just make a vector 3 and set the blue channel to 1 so it is default. Enable the is exterior parameter. I will now increase the snow amount default value to 4 to see if it works. Make sure to apply the new snow material. Again, you can adjust this lerp value here if the original diffuse is still too strong at max snow amount. Here I add it to the other cubes. Here is a custom master material I made for the models I added. I will make a snow variant for those too. You will need to do this for all the materials unless you make a generalized master material, which I will include in the weather systems project files. You can see now the Jeep is snowing. I did the rest of the models off camera. You can see it now looks like it has been snowing heavily. It also adjusts as expected when we change the snow amount value in the parameter collection. Finally, we will do the snow volume. First we need audio. You can get any. First I will get this quitter sounding snowfall. For the blizzard I got this winter wind loop from Mixkit. Import them both, then open and enable looping. Make sure your sound effects are actually looping, however since the first one I got wasn't, but I couldn't find any other free ones. For the volume I will duplicate the rain volume since most of the code will be the same. Again, you can download that rain project for free if you don't want to do it yourself. Change the rain particle to the snow one. Change the audio to the snow one, then duplicate it for the blizzard one, but set this volume multiplier to 0 by default. Adjust the parameters and default values to suit the snow particle. In the construction script, make sure you change the variable names to the corresponding ones from the Niagara parameters. It has to be exact, otherwise will not work. Delete this ending part and the current drip amount variable. Make a function called getBlizzardAudio and copy the code. This checks if it is a blizzard by seeing if it is blowing in a particular direction and strong enough with the threshold being 200. We used absolute since it should work regardless of the direction but the strength. If it is a blizzard, it increases the blizzard audio volume with a map range clamp so we can control it based on the snow amount. Add it in the begin play. Set it to a pure function. Change this function name to adjust snow. Change the custom event here to it as well. Change all the parameters from the get and set scalar parameter values to the snow amount 1. Now adjust the map range clamp values here to control the rate of change of snow accumulation. This requires some trial and error to get right, so make sure it fits your game and needs. If snow amount is below 100, it will reduce instead of adding. Copy the shown code at the end here for the fog. You can skip this if you don't want the fog to change with snow amount. This will make the fog density be 3 at maximum snow amount. Change the function name at the end here to adjust snow to. I will change these timelines names. Remove the strip amount code since that was only for rain. Change the parameters here to snow amount and the function name to adjust snow. Use getBlizzardAudio here for target volume. On begin play the snow will take some time to cover the map. If this is okay for you then leave it as is, but if you want the snow to already be covering the map on begin play, adjust these warm-up settings in the Niagara. Don't make the warm-up tick count too high. Something like 200 should work. By default, I will set the wind X and Y to -50 and 50 so it isn't a blizzard. I will set gravity to -200 and -100. Both values will need to be negative, otherwise it will either float or move upwards. Now I can add it to the level. I will move it up but not too much. Adjust the map range clamp values as well as the default volumes of the audio as needed since it may be too quiet or loud. You can change the parameters to your liking and change things like the color and size. For a blizzard, you can change wind X and or Y to make it blow in a certain direction. Increase the spawn range Z as well so it is more uniform, and also it is best to move it down more now. You can see it doesn't come through this wall since it collides outside and is killed. Here it is in a night scene example. Since it uses GPU particles, there is no effect on performance even with this high spawn count. When I move around the map you can see the coverage is very heavy, so it is suitable for both gameplay and cutscenes. The snow accumulation also works just with the snow volume in the scene, so there is no extra settings for making it work with cutscenes or movie render. The snow amount can be changed in real time. Make sure to rename this to set snow amount in the volume. To showcase I will just change it using number keys. Simply get the snow volume, then call the set snow amount with the target amount as the input. This is for no snow, light snow, and heavy snow. You can use this function with a dynamic weather system if you want it to randomly snow or snow based on season or temperature. That is all for this video. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more content. You can download this project for free using the link in the description. Thanks for watching.